but we actually going to get a different perspective tonight. I wanted to sit down and have a little bit of conversation with a woman that I actually respect and have had a good working relationship with, a very a personal relationship with. She's helped me out with some personal things. She is an extraordinary businesswoman and just an all around good person. And she happens to be of the white persuasion, so she's gonna share a little bit of different perspective. We're gonna get some reflection, and I know we're gonna invite some good conversation with this. So I think that's a good warm-in spot. We had a good spot, so I'm actually gonna bring you on now, Tammy. I'm gonna reach out to you and bring you on. I'm gonna add you in, and we're just gonna go right into our conversation. Just jump in when you're able to request the live. I'll wait for you had to request it, and then it'll bring you in. It's not allowing me to bring you in without you requesting it. So, but while we're doing that, while we're getting that straight, jump in there. There you go. Jump. Can you jump? Can you request to be in the live now that you're Tammy? Request to be in the live, and it allowed me to pull you in. It's not letting me grab you from the. There we go. All right, I see you. All right, I'm bringing.
All right, bring you in there. All right, so you're connecting. All right, there you go. Hey, what's up,
All
Rick?
right.
How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, actually. Thank you for asking.
You look great.
Thank you. Well, I'm good. So we get to talk for a few minutes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got to talk. Yeah, I got to jump off right before 7:30 for Tuesday night meditation.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you. So I appreciate you giving us. I know we're gonna get different perspectives, and like to reiterate real fast. I mean, obviously we all know that we're in a we all pretty much believe that we are literally living in history right now, in terms of what's going on globally, concerning the aftermath of George Floyd and everything that's been going on with protesting and all sorts of different things. So, so we talked, and I talked to you and told you about how I wanted to foster collective understanding and kind of invite some conversation so that we could continue to venture forward together as human beings and just kind of see where we are with things. So then this came. So
yeah.
So when I reached out to you, the first thing I wanted to actually to ask you, because I wanted you to definitely expound on it. When I reached out to you, you told me about an experience that you had when you were very young, and it was some race related things in there. So why don't you let's start from there.
So most people don't know my family because, excuse me, I don't live near my family. They're kind of all over the place. But my family moved to Pittsburgh when I was 19. Then my parents moved to Mississippi. Anyway, I have a multiracial family. I laugh. I say we're like the colors of Benetton, you know. And as a child, when I was bullied trying to leave elementary school by black students and white students taunting me for having black family members. And this is 1967, 1968. At that time, it wasn't even legal for interracial marriage in the United States.
Wow.
That didn't happen until July 1967.
Wow.
so the racial tensions, and that was with all the, you know, all the Martin Luther King and all the Kennedys been killed anyway. So it was a rough time, but I was a child, and we were, children are innocent, and we take their innocence away. So you have to understand that uh, although as a white woman, I cannot say that I understand what a person of color has gone through. I can say that I've had similar experiences. It's and we need to hear this.
So
We need to make each other understand.
so did you so what like do you remember what you felt like? Did you feel like how did you understand that it was about race like at that age? Like did you understand
Yeah,
like
yeah,
how did you
absolutely.
okay.
It was about race because even though, and I tell people that it's hard for me to understand racism so that is so deeply embedded, coming from multiracial in the family, coming from a school that was already integrated before I got in it. It didn't have to go through Brown versus the Supreme Court. My first grade teacher was African American. I lived at the Italian neighborhood, which bisected one of the African American neighborhoods. So these were my play friends. These were my school students. These were my family.
So
So it's hard. But I'm not everybody,
mhm. I
and I
want
understand that.
I want to ask you what all right, so I've seen it be like there's a sensitivity there with like with people of color a lot of times with like the understanding thing with white people, right? Like with like like you can't understand what it's like to be black. Like don't even try it. Just support us or just because you can't like if you're not like if you're not black you don't really understand what it's like to be. So yeah, so
And
I
you
wanted
should.
to that's what I wanted to ask. Like
As a woman,
so weigh in on
as
it.
as a woman, you could never understand as a man what it feels like for a woman to be sexually violated or to give uh, childbirth. I can tell you all day, but unless you're in that room, seeing me scream, and you still can't feel that.
Right.
Do you
Okay.
understand what I'm saying? So, and I say this not as an excuse. I say this so that white people will understand that they don't understand and that they need to respect that, just as we women who have ever been violated, since it's 1 in 4. We know that a man can't understand unless he also has been violated. He cannot understand what it's like to have someone rape you.
So you're saying so your position is
My
yeah.
position is white people need to dig inside, find an instance where they felt completely violated, and imagine feeling that way almost every day of their life.
Okay. You're saying take some time and sit back and appreciate and don't try and weigh in on it like you. I got you. I got you. That's if
I'm
I
trying to find a way to make people open their minds and their hearts and try to say, I can't feel the way you feel, but I want to try to understand. And when we try to understand each other, that's when we're able to come together for the common good. because women will gather together, black, red, white, gather around a woman who's been physically abused, sexually abused, emotionally abused. We will gather around each other. And it doesn't matter if you're a black woman, a white woman, an Asian woman, it doesn't matter. So we need people to realize this. As a woman from who grew up in the 60s and 70s, I was born in 58. Do you know that women were not allowed to have their own credit card in the 60s and 70s unless their husband gave them a credit card?
Okay.
So my point is that women, especially women in my age group or a little older, might be able to dig deep and find times when they have been violated in one way or another. And we can start adding up. Yeah, I mean, there was a time when, I think I told you this, it was one of those Sundays, I wasn't dressed, I didn't have makeup on, went to the store, we were looking for a sofa, went to various places, went to, a well-known one up in North Wilmington, and I'm smart. If you're going to give me 12 months same as cash, I'm taking it.
Right.
Right. So I asked, do you have, any specials going on for financing?
Mm-hmm.
And she snubbed her nose at me and yes, if you can get bought. Well, once the bitch saw my credit score, excuse my French,
right.
I could have anything I want in the store. She was trying to pile it on.
Right.
But the point is that I want people who have experienced that to think, what if you were treated that way every time you went in the store? What if somebody made you feel that way every day?
That I can speak for. I believe I can speak for brown people, black people, African Americans, and say that's a very respectful position because it is true. It's like you said. It's like it's kind of like somebody saying somebody talking about a personal battle of sort of personal health battle that you've never experienced, and then you try to say, oh yeah, I understand, and it's like, wait, that's like disrespectful. It's like, no, you don't understand. It's like, no, don't say that. Just be here. Like, it's kind of like that. Just be here. Just take some time to reflect, and that's what you're saying, and that's powerful. As I've had people I've had people personally asking me, and it's been I've had it on different posts and things like that. I've been a lot more active on social media over the last week now. That have been asking people who are not African American have been asking how exactly do I help? Like, I want to help. How do I help? And it's like you can donate to this, donate to that. But it's like, how do I help? And obviously we see the protests are multicultural, racial. So obviously everybody has boots on ground. It's been that way everywhere that I've been. So I think that people are finding that commonality, and I do see a lot of people who are not of. And the funny thing is, when I go to say not of African descent, you want to. Go ahead, and we're in with that. We're in with this right here. So, yeah.
Well, I actually went and I've had my DNA done, and I went and double checked it, and they switched it again. They pushed it back to a smaller amount, a higher Northern African, and a smaller amount of Senegalese. So somewhere I got a little bit of Senegal, and I got a little bit of Northern African. Yes, the green-eyed, blonde. It's not real. It's bottle blonde now, but when I was little. But I do want to share this, and this was one of the reasons that I had called you after your first one of your first videos, because when you gave your story, and you were on your way to my house one time when you were pulled over for being black. You remember that?
I do remember. I forgot about
That's
that.
that imprinted on me. You have to understand. It imprinted on me. I want to cry now.
Normal. It's normal stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm used to being pulled over like in not black neighborhoods. And that's the crazy thing.
You know, he held you up and you had to apologize for being late for our appointment. And it was like, yeah, no big deal. But when you told the story, you know, you were really shaken and upset. And that imprinted on me. So, but I want to say to the people of color, because I've heard many different sides, when we ask, help us to understand and help us to know what to do and excuse us if we say the wrong thing, even though we're trying to say the right thing. It is that please be patient and educate us. To say go on Google, well, there's a lot of stuff on Google. Do you want to lead me to the stuff on Google to see, or do you want to leave it to me to find it? I mean, I'm serious. So a white friend posted yesterday about the movie The 13th. It's on Netflix. And I want every person to watch this. And every black person, everybody, because it's not only about black experience, it's also about our government and our political system. This is not being shown in social studies in school and in political science classes in the colleges.
I know we had to go in a minute. I want to add, because that makes me want to ask you something. Do you believe, like, I don't even think I'd straight out ask you this. Do you believe that things need to be changed fundamentally in our country? Like, do you believe that it is? Like, I mean, I believe
that we need a freaking revolution. I mean, I'm like ready to throw the tea in the harbor, if you know what I'm saying. Yes, this government has set itself up as a fascist dictatorship. Excuse me, guys. I know the FBI going to be watching. Whatever. I got Alexa, so they're listening all day. We have no idea. While we were making money and having yuppies in the 80s and 90s, everybody was happy. Then the internet came. And then, C-SPAN got into the Senate and the Congress, to watch what's going on. And nobody watches what's going on. And when the last election was coming up, and I would go online, and I'm neither Democrat nor Republican. Mm-hmm. I'm rarely left, but I try to be in the center, whatever. I would go on and Facebook, and I'd say, so tell me why your candidate is the one I should vote for. Never said which side, had not posted anything. Mm-hmm. You would not believe some of the backlash. Instead of people saying, I like this, and this point about this person, it was her emails, Benghazi, he's a child molester, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, tell me, I kept saying it. I actually was getting attacked. You're not going to make me change. Someone posted something about Donald Trump that was not a true story. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what, this is false, and you probably should take it down because it doesn't help your candidate to spread false information. She attacked me. You're not going to make me change my mind who to vote for. I said, never told you who to vote for. Just said that and I tell people this, and I'm guilty of it too, spreading memes and spreading email without double checking because I trusted the person that posted it. And I relied on them who trusted the person that posted it before them. Therefore, and people say, it's not true, or it's not true. And, so I'm guilty of it too. But the point is, find the information, but go to reliable sources. And what's the most reliable source on the Black experience? My people of color. You sharing your stories had a much larger impact, had as much an impact on me as watching 13th.
Gotcha.
I needed both of that. Do you understand? I needed you to tell me your experience, and I needed documentary to tell me how legally it was done.
Gotcha.
And there's where you need to go to learn to change. And somebody said it the other day. It starts with your school districts. It starts with your local representative. It starts with your mayors and your governors. It starts with all of them. And that's the only way it's going to change. And not everybody who was in that, you know, I talked to you and you told me how beautiful and peaceful for what, 6-7 hours the first walk was. So they blocked 95 for a little while. Get over it, people.
Right.
Traffic cones have held me up longer than that. For you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get over it. But there was also, you know, the rioting and everything that was after, and that upset people. And yeah, it is upsetting. You know, I just found out today that Al Sporting Goods, they ripped through his place so bad. He's moving out now. Sadly, he's found another place. He's moving up north. But some of that is, and boy, I have been. Oh, you know, you're getting into all the conspiracy theories. You know, yeah, those bricks weren't put there by anybody. Blah 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 blah. You know, the guy that was mugged, showing with the rioting, Sean from WDEL. He was live, and they came up, and you see him get mugged, and his phone gets stolen. That phone was tracked going up the Atlantic City Expressway. So yeah, there are people outside of the area that are coming in and want to cause harm so that we can blame the wrong people. Right. And by the way, there were 3 cops standing by watching got mugged and watched them break into that store on the corner.
You said, say that again?
There were 3 police officers that witnessed his mugging and was witnessing them breaking into that store.
Oh yeah, I believe it. Yeah. It's always different on the ground, right? Like it's always the news is always the news, and that's the thing. That's what we learn out there. Like that the news, and that's why we're doing things like this. That's why I'm like, you know what, we need to talk as people, because everything outside of this here, everything outside of the collective, as us having conversation, is like we have to take advantage of these phones. We have to take advantage of this technology. Like we don't have to. We can beat CNN. We don't need CNN anymore. Like if we're, you know, so that's what this is about. Like we're telling the real story of what's actually happening out here, and this is what's going to help people. I truly believe that. So you got to do what you got to do, and we're not going to keep the people any longer. I love you too. I appreciate your perspective. Thank you so much. I'm going to put this out so that people can benefit.